Guy friend trying to force me into unprotected sex because it feels so good? So we've never slept together and honestly never thought it would happen soon. But now that it's getting serious between us, we want to. First things first, I'm not on birth control because it's just not my cup of tea. So I told him that we can use condoms instead, but he refused. He asked why and said that well, condoms aren't my cup of tea either. He said he'd be extra careful and that I'm young and he's older and knows how to pull out. He proceeded to tell me that he promised not to hurt me or get me pregnant. Since I'm on my period, he says I can't even get pregnant, so it's the perfect time if I wanted a Creampie. I was like, what? I thought you could get pregnant either way. He honestly made me feel like I was dumb and said, see, you know nothing about sex or your body. It made me extremely uncomfortable and I'm second guessing even talking or having sex with him. Update. We talked and he still tried to convince me that I can't get pregnant and that he is clean and doesn't have any STDs and never got anything. He also said that he wants to have unprotected sex with me because he thinks we have a connection. He said if I happen to get pregnant it would be because I jinxed it. He's 32 BTW and I'm 20. Update. So he says he's confused on why I get to say I don't want birth control but he doesn't. He says he has 10+ years of sexual experience and he's not a dummy. He then said he doesn't have STDs and never has, and he wouldn't dare pass it on to me if he did. He said that he really likes me and this is him showing affection. He also said his ex-girlfriends never got pregnant when they'd have unprotected sex. He told me that he knows my body more than I do. He's very experienced and that I'm just young and unsure. He said that if he wants to come inside me he will and I'll be fine afterwards. He jokes saying this is a way to practice and get prepared for a baby. Haha, just kidding, don't take me seriously. Honestly, I feel even more stupid. He said we can talk about it over dinner and he'd take me anywhere I wanted. That guy sounds very manipulative. There's a lot of red flags in that conversation and it seems from reading that he's exploiting your lack of knowledge. He's refusing to wear condoms and justifying it using your own reasons against you. The pull-out method is terrible birth control and any man, especially older, would know that. As a man, I'm not sure about the period comment, but that's still really weird. I don't think you should sleep with him. Your gut is right, a partner shouldn't be talking to you like that. Cut him out of your life right now. You're 20 and he's 32. Red flag number 1, you don't want to have unprotected and he's trying to coerce you into it. Red flag number 2, he's trying to convince you that he can be careful while also trying to convince you to let him Creampie you. Red flag number 3, does he not understand you can still get pregnant from Red flag number 4, he seems to have no concern for STDs/STIs. Red flag number 5, he's mansplaining pregnancy, your period, and your bodily functions to you. Red flag number 6, there are enough red flags in one paragraph to make a quilt. This man is a manipulative boss preying on your inexperience. Call the whole man disposal service and run. The pull-out technique is not safe at all. Just remember, even if he doesn't inside, there is some seminal fluid that will go inside, and you can find spermatozoids in the seminal fluid. Not as much as in but enough to let thousands go in. Just one spermatozoid is enough and it can live up to 6 days in the patiently waiting for, and someone wants to use this technique, then let them do. They take their own risks, but never let someone force this unsafe technique on you. Many ended up pregnant because someone told them I did it many years and was okay. Doesn't matter what he says, your body your rules, or show him the door. Do not listen to him, the pull-out method doesn't work. It's super sketchy that he won't wear a condom. That means he probably never wears condoms, which means he probably has a disease. Do not risk your health with this man. If he wants it he can wrap it. And don't let him try to take it off during either. Stand your ground. This is your health. Do not ever have with this male, no matter what promises he makes or how friendly he pretends to be. He is a creep and a very ignorant one at that. Possibly also problem dater or a pervert with a criminal record. Consensual without a condom or barrier contraception often does feel great. Being sexually coerced, harassed, subjected to contraception coercion or deliberately infected with an STD, each of these feels terrible. Don't risk it. Ditch the horrid. There are plenty of normal single men in the dating scene who would never try to force a woman into any activity. Don't waste 1 minute more of your valuable time with or on the creep. Just from the title. He's not a friend and therefore doesn't have your best. He's going to raw you. He's probably rawing how STDs happen, and would stand firm. He doesn't respect your boundaries. He's got to go. Please do not have with this person. You didn't mention your ages except that he is older, so I'm going to assume he is quite older than you. He is trying to manipulate you into getting exactly what he wants. Please do not have with this man and drop him completely. Wait to have until you meet someone who respects your boundaries and someone you can trust. This is pretty straightforward. If he doesn't want to respect your choices, break it off. Drop him. My ex used to say the same thing. He pushed me to do Unprotected. I wasn't on birth control, plus it was my first ever in my life, so I lacked knowledge too. I also have told him I do not want. Even when I cried and said I'm scared, or no. Looking back, it's almost practically. He said his pull-out game is strong. We sometimes even had 5 to 6 rounds of at a hotel we booked Unprotected. And I told him to go buy condoms but completely ignore me. I had to buy pregnancy test myself. I paid for it when he was with me, lol. I paid for implant on myself to put it in. He watched it getting inserted and said he should treat me well, but look what he has done to me now. All I can tell you is he did not treat me well at all. I'm sorry, has how old and you're how young? Get the immediate away from him. The reason people date younger is because they are easy to manipulate and don't stand up for themselves. Please cut off all contact and get away. He will become worse. He's coercing you and that's assault and he needs to stop. You need to get away. Please. He also doesn't respect you or your body. This is exactly why they go after young people. Because instead of the immediate no, a 35-year-old woman like myself gives because I know what he tries for barely legal. Get away. Run. Do not stop. Do not pass go. Immediately. For your own safety, and you tell him he's a skeezy predator. You can get pregnant, you can get STDs, he doesn't respect you and you're not safe with him. Condoms aren't just to prevent saying. And if he is not mature enough to use one, then he shouldn't be having it all. Cut him off. Period. This is not a friend. Forget them. Jesus, this guy sounds like someone to stay away from. He's older and more experienced. If he was a real friend to you, he'd treat you like in wrong BDW. You can get pregnant on your period. No. If he's willing to risk it, he's gonna do the dash if he knocks you up. And you're the one gonna be stuck with the child. Any dude that genuinely cares for you will wrap it before he taps it. BC for women can change a lot of bodily functions, whereas a condom is a piece of rubber that has zero effect other than it doesn't feel as good, still feels great. BTW, don't let these clowns fool. You absolutely can get pregnant while on your period. It may be unlikely, but there's still a chance. I have 2 exes who used the pull-out method with women they were casual with, and both ended up with children. Any man who will not wear a condom is a piece of garbage. Do not have with this man. Do not put your body at risk. And I would be concerned that even if he said he was putting on a condom, he would try to stealth you. Don't do it. For the period thing, it really depends on when you ovulate. The body is flushing out your uterine lining, so it's not prepared in that moment to get pregnant. Can survive in the for up to 6 days, though during your period the pH would be extra hostile. If you ovulate early though, it is entirely still possible. Most ovulation occurs 12 to 14 days, about 2 weeks, before the first day of your period. and on average most women have a cycle around 28 days. It does vary though, mine is only 26 days, but my periods are also pretty short at around 3 days. He's a 32-year-old dating a 20-year-old. Of course he's manipulative. It's a caricature at this point. Not to mention if this is his normal behavior with women. You go both be serious enough to get a full panel STD test. Who knows what he could possibly pass on to you. Yup. He sounds horrible. Also, I find it scary how little a 32-year-old man knows about, while simultaneously being an insufferable know-it-all about it. Just, no. I agree with you entirely. I have personally used the pull-out method for a while as I have tried every birth control I can and wasn't able to handle the side effects. But I'm 42 and know the risks with regards to pregnancy and have the maturity to make that decision for me and am very clear with my partner about the risks too. But I would never trust a new partner to pull out in time and would insist on condoms even if they were going to pull out, as they aren't the best method of birth control. Pulling out really isn't a method that should be the primary method of birth control for anyone unless they are doing so. Going in with the knowledge and acceptance of the risks, and have exhausted all contraception options. Never for someone young who hasn't had the chance to learn about the risks and talk to a professional to explain fertility risks and what birth controls are available. Even so, I also keep a track of my cycles with natural family planning techniques. In short, I'm saying that people often think that the pull-out game is convenient, when in fact to have any chance of reducing the risk of pregnancy at all, it needs daily and continued monitoring and a lot of understanding and trust from your partner and has none of the benefits that the right contraception gives. Condoms are not often fun or what anyone wants in the heat of the moment, but when someone who is as Op has described, condoms are even more important. However, I think his behavior is manipulative, and taking advantage of Op's uncertainty is the biggest red flag. It is. Not almost. I work in a crimes division in the, not saying what state, and this whole post makes me sick. I'm sorry you and Op have had to go through this. Op. This guy is an absolute predator. Not only should you not have with him, but you should cease all contact. Please, Op, listen to us. The more you know, little shooting star. Lol, honestly thought thank you for sharing, that's really interesting. Exactly. And not to mention you can ovulate more than once in a cycle and there's no such thing as 100% foolproof contraception except for abstinence. Dude sounds like a potential groomer with what has saying geez. Lol, dude most definitely knows way more about than he is letting on. He's just making the presumption that Op doesn't know that he's full of. This already sounds like such an abusive and a completely manipulative relationship. Op, do yourself a favor and drop this immediately. It should be about both. Both concerns are legitimate. Oh girl, no, please just say no and drop this dude.